Good morning, folks. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, whatever the case may be. Sorry I'm like behind in videos this past week. Haven't been doing very many, and I should be. But let's work on that together, shall we? So today is April 11th. So here is my birthday horoscope book. Yeah, there we go. April 11th. You can adapt yourself readily to change of environment, faithful to duty, loyal to your friends, and enthusiastic in your work. You have great power of determination, and through it you surmount successfully many difficulties. Your love is deep, and you will compel the same in return. Oh wow, that's like, that went blurry. Yeah, see, there we go. Yeah, so if today's your birthday, happy birthday. So I have actually been working on my butterfly and cat. My cross stitch here, and I'm trying to work on it in the evenings a little bit each evening. But yeah, I got the flowers up here done, and I'm working down here, and I have done these flowers over here, and I got this flower done up here. So yeah, I'm working on it a bit in each evening. Yeah, so it's progressing. I have my my newest one, Bookie Dragon is what I called it. I got that one kitted up and ready to go. Come on, focus, focus, focus. It wants to focus on my light. There. I'm gonna have to trying to deal with the angles and all that stuff. And okay, so let's see how that does. There. Okay, so yesterday I did record a video yesterday, but that video won't air until July, the end of July. I did the kit up of my Captain Caveman for the August event, but I'm going to air that video just before August, the beginning of August. So I will be talking about stuff in that video that happened recently. So it'll be kind of like going down memory lane type deal. So yeah, the other day on Wednesday, Wolfie and we went and I rode my bike to my dad's and picked up the truck. Left the bike there, picked up the truck, came home, picked up Wolfie and the water jug, empty water jug, and we went to the food bank, picked up a food hamper. Then we went to the grocery store, got water, and we got a few other things like bananas and fruit. And then we went to the post office and I picked up my package, and then came home and I did my unboxing video, and then we just kind of chillaxed for a couple hours before I took the truck back. And my dad was like, he's like, well, I didn't know you were going to the town next door. I'm like, well, we didn't go to the town next door. And he's like, well, where have you been? It's like, well, we went here, here, and here, then came home. And he's like, I thought you said you had to get propane. No. So I went back in our conversation and I reread the message that I sent him saying, yeah, we were going to go get water, milk, post office, food bank, all of that stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, because apparently he could have used the truck a couple of times to go to the hardware store. I guess that means what he needed to grab from the hardware store was he was unable to haul in the car because they went and they cut. It was either 7 or 9. I guess certain numbers confused, mixed up. But yeah, it was yeah, they cut down a few trees right next to where they park the motorhome. So they moved the motorhome. They parked it down by the little house that the original house that was on the property that they named the Honey House. So they parked the motorhome down there, and then my bonus mom's son-in-law brought his truck up and parked it in the driveway beside the car tent where her car is parked, right in front of where the motorhome is normally parked. And yeah, he parked the truck right in front of the part of the driveway where the motorhome is normally parked, where I would park my vehicle when I would come over in a vehicle. Anyways, so yeah, so he had his truck parked there, backed in, and making a mess. Silly me making a mess. And yeah, they cut down a bunch of trees. They cut them up into pieces for firewood. And then when I went to return the truck, they were burning a bunch of the stuff, the debris. Yeah. So yeah, they were getting it all cleaned up, and then I tossed Wolfie tossed my bike into the back of the truck, and my dad brought us back home. And so then I asked him about going to the town next door next week, and he's like, he never plans things that far in advance because he never knows what's going to be going on from one day to the next, pretty much, or 1 week to the next. Because normally before they started construction on the highway and the bridge here, pretty much every Thursday he would go to the town next door and meet up with a bunch of other guys for coffee from like 11 o'clock until 12 o'clock. And they would just hang out, drink coffee, shoot the shit, joke around, all that kind of stuff, reminisce about the good old days. But then they started the construction on the bridge and the highway, and widening of the highway and whatnot. So now that section of the highway is closed Monday to Saturday, from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. And so he doesn't go every Thursday because of the cost of gas. And now, even though the cost of gas has gone down because the carbon tax they got rid of the carbon tax. So even though the cost of gas is cheaper, he's still complaining, oh, well, yeah, I might not, if I go for coffee this week, which was yesterday, then I'm most likely not going to go next week because of the cost of gas. Well, the cost of gas is cheaper, right? Hello. And I'm like, well, I get paid next week. I will cover the cost of gas next week. He's like, okay. Yeah, and we talked a little bit about the cost of living and poverty, all that stuff. Because the people on income assistance, they don't receive it. They don't really receive enough to properly live off of. which is the government's way of trying to encourage said people to get a job. And if you're not capable of working, well, then you apply for disability. If you're not, if you have a disability that prevents you from being able to work. I have a disability that prevents me from being able to work. I have a physical disability, but I also have a mental disability that prevents me from being able to work, because I suffer from depression that is so severe that I have tried to unalive myself several times. Thankfully, unsuccessfully. I have my medication under control. I have, if you watch any of my live streams, then you'll know that when it is 10 a.m. my time, which is Pacific Standard Time, I have an alarm that goes off. Well, it's not really an alarm. You'll suddenly hear what sounds like the rattling of a pill bottle, and that's a notification on my phone to let me know that it's time to take my medication. And I try to remember to take my medication. Sometimes I do the notifications on my phone and saying that I took my meds, and then completely forget to actually take my meds. I need to actually take my meds and then do the notifications. I've done it a few times. I'm working on improving on that. But and I know a lot of people are like, well, depression shouldn't prevent you from working. Well, it's difficult to work when you're so stressed out that all you want to do is curl up in a ball and cry. And you cannot control it, no matter how hard you try. And I have tried. There have been times when I've been so upset that like, no matter what's going on, I have physically run out of the room, literally run away from the situation, crying and screaming, because I just can't control it. I can't control it at all. I've talked in a previous video about an incident that happened last year with my dad and my bonus mom. My dad came to me. I was getting ready to go to see my counselor, and so this was before I had not taken my meds yet for the day, because it was before the time to take my meds. And he was talking with me about things that were going on and whatnot, and it was very upsetting and stressful for me. So when I got to my end, then also because of him stopping me and talking with me before going to my appointment, I ended up running a little late for my appointment, which I hate. I hate being late for appointments. Hate it. So I was pretty upset. I was crying when I got to my appointment. During my appointment, my alarm went off to take my meds, and I was talking with her, and I completely forgot to take my meds while I was talking with her. But she helped me be able to calm down just by talking and whatnot. And so I was in a better mood. I felt capable of handling the situation, And then I get home, and my bonus mom is standing in the kitchen, and she says a few choice words to me. I can't remember what it was that she said, but there was no yelling. She was very blunt, specific, to the point, all of that stuff. And then she left. While I was standing there gathering my thoughts, trying to gather my thoughts, and because I was still pretty vulnerable at the time, because of my dad talking with me, and the fact that, yeah, I still had not taken my meds, still completely forgot to take my meds. Yeah, she left. She took off in the truck. I got pretty upset. I tried to calm down. I couldn't. I went and I laid down. I could not calm down. So then I went out to the van, and I went out to my van and laid down in the van, hoping that I could calm down in there with my cat Peaches. After a little while, that didn't work. I started having difficulty with my breathing. I could not stop crying, so I called 911. Yeah, I called 911, and while my phone was ringing, I'm sitting out on the deck at my dad's place as he comes home. And I'm sitting there crying, and he comes up and he's like, "What's going on?" I couldn't speak. I could not speak. The 911 operator came on the phone, and I'm like, "I need an ambulance. I need an ambulance." And I couldn't stop crying. And my dad is standing there, and he's like, "Well, what's going on?" What's going on? I couldn't speak. I gave the address, and I'm like, I can't. I'm having difficulty breathing. I can't stop crying. And whatnot. And then the operator's like, "Well, is there someone else there that I can talk with?" And so I handed the phone to my dad. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just came home, and she's crying. She's not saying anything to me. Da 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 da." So then the paramedics show up, and I'm sitting there on the deck, and they took my blood pressure and talked with me a little bit. And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't stop crying. Yada yada." They're like, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" I'm like, "Yes, please." So they got me to the ambulance and hauled me off to the hospital in the town next door. Now this is before, of course, this is before the construction, so there was no issues with the highway being closed and all that stuff. And so I sat in the back of the ambulance talking with the one paramedic, and explaining things to him. And he's like very sympathetic and understanding, because, well, they see this kind of stuff often enough, not too often, but often enough to know and understand. And they got me to the hospital and got me into a room. Well, it's not really a room, I think of it almost like a cubby hole. Yeah. It's got 3 walls, and then the 4th wall is like there's just an area for a curtain. Wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong hospital. I've been in so many freaking hospitals, it's bloody ridiculous. No, I'm trying to remember, because there was a curtain dividing my bed from another bed, and there was a woman in the other bed because I could hear her. And I'm pretty sure there was the woman that was with her was her daughter. I cannot remember any of what was being said by them. I was really focused on myself, calming myself down, waiting for the doctor. The doctor finally came, and I had a talk with the doctor about what had happened, what the trigger was, and whatnot, and she gave me a prescription for an anxiety pill. And then I messaged my dad, excuse me, saying that I'm ready to come home. They're discharging me from the hospital and all of that stuff, and so I can come home. I just have to stop at the pharmacy and pick up some meds, some pills, and so he came and picked me up at the hospital, and we drove around for a little bit, and I talked with him and told him what was going on, what had happened, what the trigger was, and whatnot. And I was so focused that morning on going to my appointment with my counselor, and I had a specific routine that I liked to do on the mornings that I would go to see my counselor. And him coming and talking with me before going to my appointment derailed things, and I do try to have structure and routine in my life, but it's not always easy when you have difficulty with sleeping, and you have issues with anxiety and depression, and not every day is the same. I wish things could be I wish I could have things have a nice steady routine every day. Get up around the same time every morning, make my coffee, it's something that I'm wanting to work towards, and it'll definitely help make things easier once I've got my own vehicle again that runs, because I do still have my van, but the battery is disconnected because it needs work, and I just really don't want to be sinking any money into it, because I'd rather get a car, because a car would make it so much easier, because they're cheaper on gas and I can get around quite easily, and with everything that I would need to do, a car would be very easy, very efficient, all that stuff. If I needed to haul stuff, if I needed to use a truck for anything, then I would just ask my dad to borrow his truck. And because it doesn't look like my dad is planning on doing anything with getting a car and getting rid of his truck. I know I've talked in the past about buying his truck, saving up a couple $1,000s, give him $2,000, buy the truck, and then he would take that $2,000 and use it as a down payment towards a car, and then anytime he needs to use the truck for any reason, he'd come over here, drop off the car, pick up the truck, and then I could use the car if I need to go out. But lately he's like, you don't want to buy the truck. It needs new transmission. It needs work. Well, of course it's gonna need work. And the only real reason that I would want to get the truck is so that I could put a fifth wheel hitch on the back in the back of it so that I could eventually move this, the fifth wheel that I live in. But I'm not planning on doing that in any time in the near future because I can't afford it. And if I could afford it, then yeah, I would love to travel. I would love to be able to travel. But there are certain people that I would love to be able to take with me to traveling. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. I'd love to take I'd love to travel with my boyfriend, like go traveling with him. But he's got a full-time job. He's trying to save up money to buy a house to help his mom out. She would live upstairs and he'd live in, like, he wants to get a house that's got a basement suite, so then he would live in the basement suite, and or we would live in the basement suite, because I'm quite sure he would be fine. Yeah, he'd be fine with me living with him in the basement suite because, well, we've lived together before in the past and we got along just fine. Things were great. We weren't really in a relationship back then. But yeah, things were fine between us. And things would be fine between us again. Because, yeah. But anyways, but yeah, it would be nice to be able to travel. Like, I'd love to be able to travel. So last night, so Wolfie's boyfriend, he lives down in the States, and he's wanting to come up here. He wants to move up here and live here in Canada. So last night I was doing some Googling, and it's definitely not an easy process, that's for darn sure. Somehow you have to prove that you've been a resident, you've been a resident of Canada for a minimum of 3 years out of 5. That's one of the things that you gotta show. That noise in the background is Wolfie. Good morning. I don't know if she can hear me. She's probably got her headphones in.
I don't have my headphones on.
Oh, good morning, Wolfie. But yeah, apparently, yeah, there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and it's gonna take, it's gonna take a few years, because he's young and fit, and with his experiences in life, with him having been in the military and with working and all of that stuff, there are ways that that he can look into being a Canadian resident. Now, a lot of people are under the misconception that, well, you can just become a Canadian resident by marrying a Canadian. No. Nope. It's not that easy. You could marry a Canadian, yes, and then they can sponsor you, but they like, because she's on disability, she can't sponsor him, because the Canadian resident has to have a high enough income to be able to financially support an American spouse and any children. Well, in their case, there's no children, so basically they're saying she would have to be able to prove that she is financially capable of supporting herself and him. Well, yeah, no. I'm quite certain that he's going to come here to Canada, he's going to get a job, And with his, yeah, he'd be able to get a really well-paying job. And she would be able to get off of assistance, off of disability. Yeah. Which would be awesome. Definitely. And yeah, with where he's living, minimum wage there is $12 an hour. I'm like, well, minimum wage here is, oh, last I checked, it was $15 an hour.
It's roughly 15.
Yeah. Might be a touch higher. Yeah. But, so, oh, and you're going to have to tell me in the comments. Please let me know in the comments below. Does this angle work for you? I think it does. I think it works. It works for me. I think it works for me because it's directly above. And so you can actually see what I'm working on. My hands aren't in the way. The lights aren't in the way. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, you can definitely see what I'm doing. I really like it at this angle. Yes, I have a squirrel brain. I have a squirrel brain. It jumps from subject to subject. As you can see. Like, back to my my anxiety attack last year with the paramedic. The one paramedic, so the one paramedic that rode in the back of the ambulance with me, with crying. Okay, I wear glasses because I am very extremely nearsighted. So without my glasses, everything is blurry. Beyond like 3 inches from my face, like literally 3 inches from my face, give or take. Well, anyways, so I was not wearing my glasses and sitting in the back of the ambulance. I was saying a whole lot of stuff and to this particular paramedic, and he was wearing sunglasses because it was a really nice bright sunshiny day. And I commented on his sunglasses because, well, there is a YouTuber that I watch that wears sunglasses all the time, and that is The Expert. He is hilarious. He's a good looking man too. But yeah, The Expert, he is hilarious. He is super funny. And he's got a squirrel brain too. He used to be an attorney, but then he was like, yeah, I don't like this, so he quit. And then his wife bought him, I think she bought him a microphone, or she bought him a webcam, or she bought him something, and she's like here, go be on YouTube or something like that. I can't remember. He said he talked about it in like 1 or 2 of his videos. But anyways, I told the paramedic that his sunglasses reminded me of one of my favorite YouTubers. Well, now I do have a lot of favorite YouTubers. Yeah. Anyways, so I told him about The Expert, and he's like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll check it out." And yeah. So after getting to the hospital, I got my crying under control. I put my glasses on, and then he walks up to me because he had gone to go talk to the doctor or whatever, and he walks up to me and it's like, holy crap. Yeah. Yeah. Very good looking man. Yeah. Yeah. There were certain things that I never would have said to him if I had known just how good looking he was. Oh yeah. I was just a little bit flushed in the face. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, needless to say, I was a bit on the embarrassed side. Yeah, because of some of the stuff that I had said to him, but it's like, well, paramedics, they hear all kinds of things. They see all kinds of things. They see people at some of their worst points in their life. I know this from past experience. From dealing with paramedics in the past. And I have always been super nice and super polite to paramedics because of the crap that other people have put them through, and because of the things that they see and deal with on a regular basis. The same with doctors and police and firemen. I go out of my way to be as nice and polite to them as possible because of all of the horrible, terrible, no good, very bad things. Yes, quoting the title of a book. That they see and have to deal with and put, and yeah, and it's a lot of people just don't understand. They don't realize, they don't care about the kinds of things that these particular people go through on a regular basis. It's like when the world shut down back in 2020, these particular people, they were like, well, I would love to be able to shut down with the rest of the world, but we can't. We have a duty to uphold. We have jobs that still have to be done. Especially the doctors and nurses and paramedics. They still had to, like, they put their lives on the line every day during 2020. Even more than usual. And still they get treated like crap. Yeah, there are some bad eggs. There are some pretty terrible doctors and nurses and paramedics. But the majority of them are really good people. Really good, very hardworking. Same with the police and firefighters. And it's those bad eggs that make things even harder on the good ones. Especially in the police force. You see it in the news all the time. Like recently I saw a video clip of police officers opened fire on an autistic boy. 9, like it was, I don't know how many police officers, but they all ended up pew-pewing this autistic boy. And he was hit 9 times. And it's like, okay, there was, so this autistic boy, he did have a knife in his hand, but the officers were on the outs. There was a fence between the officers and the autistic boy, and they still pew-pewed and hit him 9 times. I can understand the panic setting in, but it's like still there was the fence in between them. Like, yes, so an autistic boy upset, going through issues. Yes, they had a knife in their hand, but still, like, did they have to use their pew-pews? They could have tased the boy. Honestly, I think officers should carry around beanbag pew-pews. I do. I honestly believe they should carry beanbag pew-pews. And then, like, yeah, you get hit with a few beanbags, and hopefully that'll knock some sense into you and make you stop whatever you're doing. If it doesn't, then maybe they could resort with more force. I don't know. But honestly, I believe that they should pack around beanbag pew-pews. Because beanbag pew-pews, well, it's safer, for one. Pretty sure it's less paperwork for the officers to have to fill out afterwards. And of course, my knowledge on all of that stuff is based on TV shows. And the TV shows that I watch that have to do with police officers, they always complain about having to fill out paperwork after pew-pewing someone. Oh. Plus, after pew-pewing someone, after any time that they use their trying to think of a safe terminology. After they discharge their pew-pew, it sounds so weird. Oh, it could be taken so dirty, but yeah, basically, like, based on the shows that I've watched, after they discharge, it just sounds so wrong. They have yeah, after they go pew pew, they have to fill out paperwork and they have to see a counselor. Yeah. To make sure that they're okay. But yeah. There is a little bit of there it is. All right, so yes, this is coming along quite nicely. All right, so I am, as you can see, I'm still doing just the thin little strips. I find it works best for me doing it this way. And I've explained in other videos as to why. It's because I'm not, my hand in no way ends up rubbing on the drills, because this is very irritating to the skin. I do have an issue with the edge of the whiteboard and the edges of the canvas rubbing against my skin, because that does irritate my skin. It does. It irritates my skin. I don't like it. So next week, thankfully, is payday. So yeah, I'm going to see about borrowing the truck on Wednesday to go to the town next door, because it is actually payday. And on that day, Wolfie and I are going to go and borrow the truck for the day. I don't know how long it's going to take, because we're going to have to sit at the place is called Service BC, and that's where they now do, like, any paperwork that you need to submit for income assistance. That's where you go. If you have to pick up a check from income assistance, that's where you go. That's also where you go to do your you can take your driving test there for your driver's license. That's where you go to do your ID. So that's something that we're going to be doing next week as well, is doing her ID. Yeah, that's where we're going to be going for her ID. Okay, so let's see here. None of those. Oh, there's percentages. Let's see. This one. No, a wave. Yeah. So yeah, I do this with every section. That one, no. That one, yes. because it's, I find it more efficient having them all here, and then I just go through each row, each set of containers, and it's like, okay, so with this one, this symbol is down in here, but there's no F's, there's no swirlies, and there's no P. No P! Yeah, so that's how I do it. So let's see here. So there is this one. Let's see. I don't see any of the circles. No L, no check marks, and no V. This one. Nope. 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 This one. No. Nope. No. No. This one. There's 5. And then there's this one up here, and then there's 7s up here. All right, so, and there are no specials. Oh wait, there's an E. Is there? Okay, so the letter E is here, because I just noticed there's an E there. Okay, all right, so this, I'm going to continue working on this, as you can tell. I'm going to continue working on this, but I've got other things that I need to do. Like I need another cup of coffee. In the meantime, I'm going to go, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.